From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Well, within the last few hours, President Trump was joined by Elon Musk to announce a plan to completely reshape the federal government. Good evening. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Some striking images coming from the Oval Office today, and our Sarah Donchi is here with all the details about what went down.
Yeah, you know, Ryan, President Trump, no secret, he likes to do things differently. This is not really what we've seen before in the political past. So let's set the scene for you. President Trump, seated in the Oval Office, standing to his right, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, who brought along his young son, X. So in that meeting, President Trump signed another executive order, this one requiring the heads of federal agencies to cooperate with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to shrink the size of the federal government. Already, many of DOGE's proposed cuts are being blocked by federal judges. That has been making headlines for sure. But Musk is insisting this is what people voted for.
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for. But in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
So there are some questions being raised about how these cuts are happening and Musk's potential conflicts of interest in his role in all of this. The White House says as an unpaid special government employee, Elon Musk will not need to file a public report on his financial interests with the government. But we know Musk's companies have billions of dollars in government contracts.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately.
Including you yourself.
Yes. But transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watched that also.
So that's what the president is saying, and that is what Elon Musk is saying. But according to a New York Times investigation, some of Elon Musk's business interests could stand to benefit from what's going on in D.C. and this big shakeup that they're at the helm of. Some of his companies are under investigations or facing complaints that would be investigated by the agencies that Musk is targeting. And Democrats are firing back on how Musk is going about these cuts.
He has now crossed the line. He is stopping payments unilaterally. Congress has the power of the purse. And some of the payments that were stopped were for Medicaid. We don't want unelected officials having the power to stop veterans benefits, Medicaid, or other programs that people rely on. And what I've said is if you have really ideas for cutting government, come to Congress, show the American people, force Congress to vote on it.
There was this other remarkable moment that happened, Ryan, when a reporter questioned Elon Musk on misleading comments that he posted on X, which he owns, about a federal agency sending condoms to Hamas. Ryan, so Musk casually said, quote, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected, and that nobody is going to bat 1,000. So that's kind of mirrors this approach that he's taking to X with community notes, but this is the federal government.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Well, joining us live right now is Rory Little from UC Law San Francisco to kind of help us unpack this and kind of explain what is happening here. Thank you. So a striking image seeing the world's richest man in the Oval Office alongside the president, but it's not unusual for the president to have rich and powerful allies. But does this feel any different?
Well, of course, it does feel different. I mean, we have had something called a kitchen cabinet for a long time. That goes back to Andrew Jackson and the kitchen cabinet. Ronald Reagan had a set of California advisors. Barack Obama used to play basketball with people. I mean, this idea that you can get advice from people you like, is not new. Two things are new. One, we've never really seen it before. The kitchen cabinet used to stay in the kitchen. And two, we've never really had such a wealthy person with so many business interests that are affected by federal regulations having this kind of influence. the idea that he's going to watch out for his own conflicts or that Trump is going to say, oh, we won't let him. You know, you can only have the republic that the people will let you have. And if Trump's not going to enforce the law, if his prosecutors aren't going to enforce the rules, Elon Musk is a special government employee. He's only supposed to work 1/3 of a year, 130 days out of 365. If he goes over that, you could say he's violating the law. Will anybody call him on that? We'll find out.
Okay, so let's talk about the order that was signed today. It has language about significantly reducing the size of government. So how much authority does the president actually have to unilaterally change how our government operates?
Well, that's a good question, right? The Supreme Court has said for a long time that Congress can put in requirements that you can't be fired unless there is good cause. That's been the law for almost 100 years under the Supreme Court. Trump and his advisors have said they want to challenge that ruling. They want to see if they can get it overruled. And that's what they're trying to do now. They're trying to set up by firing some people without good cause, at least without good cause listed. They're trying to set up a Supreme Court challenge. His view is he can do anything he wants. If Congress lets him do anything he wants, then the only bulwark left is the Supreme Court, and we'll see what they will say.
And today, another judge ordered the executive branch to actually release billions of dollars in federal grants and loans, saying the Trump administration has not complied with a previous order to do so. So how's this going to play out moving forward?
Well, that's another. I mean, there's something like 40 lawsuits now or more. There are probably 5 or 6 injunctions, maybe more, floating around. We'll see whether any judge actually will hold somebody in contempt. And if the judge were to hold somebody in contempt, what would the Trump administration do to enforce that judgment? You know, we depend on the branches acting in good faith and with their checks and balances. And if one branch decides they don't have any checks and balances, then you've got a real problem. And hopefully the courts will stand tall. And frankly, some people in the executive branch will stand tall, as well as Congress, and say, hey, checks and balances are what the framers intended. Let's enforce some of these checks and balances. Nobody is against reducing waste and bureaucracy in the federal government, but how you do it and to what extent you do it and who you let advise you, that's the real questions.
Well, always thank you for helping us try to break this down. Professor Rory Little from UC Law, San Francisco, thanks for joining us.